What's going on, everyone? Limit Proof here with a video recap of the Escalera race 2024, which was held in Fort Worth on November 23rd. Category gonna be in here is at the very bottom. It's gonna be Novice / Cat 4. Purpose of this video, you're not gonna really see any professional racing from me by any stretch. It's more going to be just a recap of the course and then just kind of a self-reflection back on the event. This is my second time doing the Escalera race. Last time was in 2023. I have been racing cyclocross for about 5 years now. It's a mix, in my opinion, of gravel racing and mountain biking. No, that's not a direct comparison, but being that I come from a mountain biking background, the handling aspects of cyclocross, I think, cross over quite a bit with mountain biking. The Escalera race, at least for the 2 times I've done it, have been held at Trail Drivers Park there in Fort Worth. The park is an interesting layout with this course in that there's basically 2 levels to it. There's a lower level and then an upper level. About a third of the way through the course there is some stairs, which this is the first set of stairs that you encounter. The second set of stairs that you encounter are going to be 2/3 of the way through the course, and those take you back up once you drop down to the lower portion later in the race. I found this course to be difficult. The more I race cyclocross, the more I realize that I really am just not good at punchy short climbs. That's really where people can drop me. I have been getting better, trying to take training, more seriously than just somebody who's recreationally riding. For this season, I actually made a purchase of some cyclocross-made tires in the cyclocross width of 33 millimeters. In the past, I've been riding on 38 width tires that are more suited for gravel, things like a Specialized Pathfinder. This time around I was able to get some Specialized Terra Pros on sale that I'm using. I'm actually quite surprised with the grip that dedicated cyclocross tires offer on these grassier sections. Here in northern Texas, we really don't have the muddy and nasty conditions that other cyclocross races can get in other parts of the United States and the world. Most of the racing here that at least I've experienced has been dry with this grass and then hard pack conditions, a little bit of pavement here and there. So this part of the course here, we were in the upper portion, drop down to the lower portion. You then have this gradual climb back up in a straight line that then turns right around and drops you back into the lower portion again. And as I was talking about previously, this leads you to the second set of stairs about 2/3 of the way of the race, into the race course. It's been slim pickings this year in terms of cyclocross racing in the DFW area. Creek Cross was canceled, which is the one main event that I've been competing in the past over in Garland. And then there was no Fort Worth cyclocross either this year. My understanding is the fees generated, or the funds generated from this race, are to go for racing, weeknight racing for Fort Worth next year, which I am looking forward to. We have had a couple, or say more than a couple, of unofficial cyclocross races in the Dallas area to make up for that gap in the calendar. And so I've been just competing in those just to kind of stay active in terms of cyclocross for these types of events. Being that I'm not a professional racer and that I don't have a coach or anything of that sort, a lot of the learning I've done in racing has just been personal observation and experience, and then of course reading here and there for tips and tricks on the internet or listening to other people. One skill that I've noticed, and it's kind of obvious, is carrying speed into the corners rather than trying to brake and make sure that you enter and then exit a corner in the most controlled manner possible. I don't want to say it's uncontrolled, but there's a very fine line, of course, between being too cautious during racing, going into corners fast, and going into corners just enough to where you're still in control, but you can carry speed through the corner. And I've noticed that with the different set of tires, I was able to do that much better in a race format. So we have the first lap down here. The group has now spread out. I want to say, if I remember correctly, there's like 2 more groups in front of me. I ended up being in the middle of the pack here. We're also racing with, I believe, 2 Masters categories. I think there's a 40 and then a 60-year-old Masters categories. I believe that's the person in front of me is on a yellow Surly cross check. They end up being a person that I'm pretty much neck and neck with, swapping back and forth positions as the race continues on. There was one other person I remember, they had like an orange helmet on, that I was going back and forth with, but they ended up dropping me towards the end of the race. They just had more power to output. And so since I'm not a professional racer and there's nothing crazy going on here, I did speed up the video quite a bit. That person with the orange helmet that I've been neck and neck with later in the race is behind me in that rear view camera. Being that I come from a mountain biking background, I want to say that I have a little bit, just a tiny bit more of an advantage on downhill sections that are quicker, just because that's what you typically experience in mountain biking. But I also noticed in these gradual uphill sections, I could actually end up passing people. They would end up passing me on climbs, but only the steeper climbs would be where I would encounter slowing down. The gradual climbs, for some reason, in the unofficial racing that I've done, if there's ever a gradual, longer climb, I'm able to put down power in a straight line. I don't know what that means for me in terms of racers' advantages. I know there are different types of racers. I don't think I fit into any one category because, frankly, I'm just not at that level of professional or skill. 2 laps down here. Maintaining somewhat of a consistent time per lap, which I think is a good thing, just looking back. Rather than blowing up halfway through the race, I'm able to pace myself. Which I think is one thing, being that a novice racer is an easy thing to focus on. As long as you can pace yourself well, that's one large and basic skill that is helpful to have down. On my bike, I've always had a 2x system with a compact crank. My Trek checkpoint came with a 50-34 crank on the front. Not really gravel friendly, or I should say, not really cyclocross friendly, but it does help to flip between the bigger and smaller chainring when you really need just a small boost of power, in my opinion. And so here we have this leapfrogging here between myself and the person on that yellow cross check that was in front of me, and now they're behind me. And he's catching up to me again on the stairs, I think, to pass me there again. And we are pretty much exactly halfway through the race now. There were 5 laps in total that were completed. You can see, though, that all of us are already kind of getting gassed for the ones that aren't at the front of the race. Able to gain quite a bit of speed here towards the bottom, and this is where I catch up to that person with the orange helmet on that's in front of me right there. I'm able to catch up to them, but I believe it's in the final lap. They had some gas left in the tank that I didn't, and so they were able to just lay down power and really distance themselves from me. So I'm slowly able to work my way up to their pace. And I want to say right at the top here is when I'm able to pass them, but they end up just passing me on the uphill portion again. So we go to the downhill portion here, which turns around and goes back up to this gradual climb that I was finding having advantage on, where I can lay down some power, get a little bit of distance in between me and them, but it all goes away once we get to those second set of stairs. By this point, I was almost walking the stairs, half-hearted attempt at a jog, but as you can see by my heart rate, I'm pretty much maxed out. So I'm able to keep some distance, but he's back on my tail again. And we're going to be finishing up the 4th lap, going into the final lap here. A little bit faster on that lap than lap 3. And this is the point where I didn't have any more energy to lay down, yet he had obviously something left, because he is pretty much able to throw down some power, and I'm just not able to catch up. Of all the types of races that I've been in, I have done a couple longer Grand Fondo road races. Really not my cup of tea. I mean, I like them, but not in a race format. Done some mountain bike racing. Really like mountain bike racing, but it's not friendly for spectators. Cyclocross is awesome in that I'm actually able to get people like my family out and friends to come and watch. Because it's such a short course and you can pretty much see where everybody is at all times, that it makes for actually an exciting event for those that are not even into biking. So at this point here, we're going into the last time that I have to climb the stairs here on the course. And I'm able to keep up. I believe this person in front of me here is in the Masters 40 plus category. And it's towards the end here that I have somewhat of an exciting finish, I guess, for me. Just give me something to strive for in the last 30 seconds of the race. So we're getting to the bottom here. We have this big turn. You go around, flattens out into a gradual downhill section. I actually thought this person in front of me was in my category, but as I stated, I believe they're in the Masters 40. But I wanted to make it exciting, and I wanted to see if I could pass him at the very end here. So I tried to carry as much speed as I could through this corner, and then I shifted into that big chain ring and just stood up and hammered away. But I think he knew I was right behind him, and so we had this exciting finish here right at the very end. I don't know where we positioned. It was like neck and neck, but that was it. Just want to thank you all for watching here on the Escalera race for 2024.